When people think of Shelley Fabares, many remember a smiling young actress who played the perfect daughter on the Donna show, or the sweet teenager who sang the #1 hit song Johnny Angel in 1962. On the surface, she looked like someone who had everything: beauty, fame, and success at a young age. But behind that bright smile was a very different reality. Shelley's life was filled with struggles that began early in her childhood and continued throughout her career. She faced a broken home, bullying, unhealthy pressure from Hollywood, and serious health problems later in life. Her journey shows how difficult it can be to grow up in the spotlight, where people expect perfection even when life is falling apart. Shelley's story is not just about stardom, but about pain, resilience, and survival. She became a symbol of strength for many people because she managed to fight through challenges that could have destroyed her. To understand the tragedy of Shelley Fabares, we have to look at both her career highlights and her darkest battles, the ones that shaped her life far more than fame ever did. Shelley was born on January 19, 1944, in Santa Monica, California. During the final years of World War II, her mother, Elsa, had once been a dancer and still dreamed of Hollywood. Her father, James, worked in real estate, but the family struggled financially. When Shelley was only 3 years old, her parents divorced. It was not a peaceful separation, and Shelley's early years were marked by instability, frequent moves, and money problems. She lived with her mother, who only received $50 a month in child support, an amount that barely covered basic needs. Shelley's childhood was full of emotional stress. She often remembered hiding under beds during fights and crying herself to sleep. Her mother also struggled with depression, which sometimes left Shelley feeling alone and scared. Her aunt, Nanette Fabares, a successful actress, helped the family financially and introduced Shelley to the entertainment world. At only 4 years old, Shelley started modeling to earn extra money. While most children her age played outside, she was already working. The family moved through 7 different apartments by the time she was 8. Meals often came from a single can of soup, and Shelley wore secondhand clothes. Childhood was supposed to be a time of carefree joy, but for Shelley, it was a time of survival. Even though her home life was difficult, Shelley's talent and determination helped her step into the world of acting. By the early 1950s, she started appearing on television and in movies. In 1954, she made her first TV appearance on The Loretta Young Show. Despite being new to acting, she impressed everyone by performing a crying scene in just one take. This was the beginning of her long career. At age 14, she starred in the Disney series Annette, where she played a snobby rival to Annette Funicello. The show was very popular and made Shelley a teen star. But being a child actor was not as glamorous as it looked. Shelley often worked long hours, sometimes up to 16 hours a day, with very little schooling. She missed dozens of school days every year and received poor tutoring on set. She also dealt with bullying from classmates, who teased her for her lisp and made fun of her parents' divorce. The pressure of Hollywood, combined with personal struggles, led to self-doubt and body image issues. A director once made inappropriate comments to her, and she also developed a brief eating disorder after being rejected from roles because of her height. These early years in Hollywood showed that fame came at a heavy price. Even for a young girl, Shelley's big breakthrough came when she was cast as Mary Stone on the Donna show in 1958. For 5 years, she played the perfect daughter in America's favorite TV family. Millions of viewers tuned in each week, and Shelley became a household name. But her fame did not stop with acting. In 1962, she recorded Johnny Angel, a song that became a massive hit and reached #1 on the Billboard charts. It sold over 1 million copies, making her one of the few television stars to successfully cross into music. She admitted later that she did not think of herself as a real singer, but the song captured the hearts of teenagers across America. Despite this success, Shelley still struggled behind the scenes. The attention was overwhelming, and she was constantly under pressure from the media. Her record label even staged a fake romance between her and pop star Fabian Fort to generate headlines. This made her feel used and uncomfortable, especially since she was still just a teenager. Although Johnny Angel brought her fame and money, it also made her realize how controlling and harsh the entertainment industry could be. Within a few years, her music career faded as new stars like the Beatles took over the charts, leaving Shelley once again at a crossroads in her career. After leaving music, Shelley returned to acting and began appearing in movies. In the mid-1960s, she starred in several films with Elvis Presley, including Girl, Happy, 1965, Spin Out, 1966, and Clambake, 1967. Fans loved the chemistry between her and Elvis, and rumors spread about a romance between them. Shelley later said that Elvis was kind and respectful, but the gossip was difficult to deal with, especially since she had married music producer Lou Adler in 1964. Their marriage, however, was troubled. Rumors of Adler's infidelity hurt Shelley deeply, and the two eventually separated. Finalizing their divorce in 1980, she never had children, something that became a painful subject in her life. These years were a mix of professional success and personal heartbreak. Shelley appeared in different roles, including light comedies and serious dramas. But she was also struggling with emotional pain from her broken marriage and the constant pressure of Hollywood. Despite her beauty and talent, she often felt insecure and worn down by the unrealistic standards placed on women in the industry. By the late 1970s and 1980s, Shelley found a new chapter in television, but her private battles were far from over. In 1989, Shelley found a new wave of fame with her role as Christine Armstrong on the hit TV sitcom Coach. She played the smart and loving partner of Craig T. Nelson's character, and the show became a huge success. She stayed on the series until 1997, earning 2 Emmy nominations. But while her career seemed stable, her personal life faced a new crisis. In 1994, Shelley suffered a terrible accident when she fell through the floor of her under-construction home. She broke several ribs and was hospitalized. During her recovery, doctors discovered that her liver enzymes were extremely high, which was a warning sign of something far more serious. At first, no one knew what was wrong. But this accident would eventually uncover a deadly illness that Shelley had been carrying silently. The fall that broke her ribs had also saved her life by revealing a disease that could have gone unnoticed until it was too late. This marked the beginning of the most painful and frightening chapter of her life, her battle with autoimmune hepatitis, a disease that would eventually destroy her liver and nearly take her life. By the late 1990s, Shelley's health had deteriorated badly. She was diagnosed with autoimmune hepatitis, a condition where the body's immune system attacks the liver. By 1999, her liver was failing completely. She collapsed from massive internal bleeding and was rushed to the hospital, where doctors told her she would die without a transplant. Shelley was placed on the transplant waiting list, but the chances were grim. More than half of people on that list do not survive long enough to get a new organ. For 22 long months, Shelley waited, her body growing weaker by the day. At one point, she weighed only 90 pounds and could barely stay awake. Her husband, actor Mike Farrell, became her caretaker, helping her with even the simplest tasks. The emotional stress of waiting was unbearable, and Shelley later admitted that she lived in constant fear of dying. In October 2000, the call finally came. A liver was available. She underwent a risky transplant surgery that saved her life, but recovery was extremely difficult. Her body fought infections, and she came close to death again. Still, she survived, proving her incredible strength once more. While her health problems were terrifying, Shelley chose to use her pain to help others. Even before her transplant, she had been active in raising awareness for Alzheimer's disease. After her mother died from it in 1992, she became a national spokesperson for the Alzheimer's Association, spoke to Congress, and helped raise millions for research. After her transplant, she also became a strong voice for organ donation. Shelley spoke openly about her near-death experience and explained how one organ's donor can save or improve up to 50 lives. Her story encouraged many people to sign up as donors. In this way, Shelley turned her tragedies into a mission that could help others avoid the same suffering. She also embraced her role as a stepmother to Mike Farrell's children. filling her life with love, even though she never had biological children of her own. By focusing on advocacy and family, she found meaning beyond Hollywood. Her story became not just one of sadness, but also one of hope, showing that even after devastating struggles, it is possible to use pain to bring light to others. After retiring from acting in 2006, Shelley lived a quieter life, but never stopped being herself. She surprised fans in the 2020s by dyeing her hair pink in a bold, punk-inspired style. It was her way of showing that she had survived and was still full of spirit. One of the most difficult parts of Shelley Fabares' personal life was her first marriage to Lou Adler, a well-known music producer who worked with big names like Carole King and the Mamas and the Papas. They married in 1964 when Shelley was only 20 years old, at a time when she was still trying to find her identity in Hollywood. At first, their relationship seemed exciting, as Adler moved in circles filled with famous musicians, producers, and actors. But soon, the marriage became a source of stress and disappointment. Rumors of Adler's infidelity hurt Shelley deeply, and the couple often fought. Shelley wanted stability and a home filled with trust, while Adler was more focused on his fast-paced career and social life. She admitted years later that she felt invisible in the marriage, as though her needs and emotions did not matter. By the early 1970s, the two were living separate lives. Even though they did not finalize their divorce until 1980, the marriage left Shelley with emotional scars and a sense of emptiness, because she had hoped for children and a traditional family. When that dream did not come true, she carried the sadness for many years. This painful chapter of her life showed how even celebrities who appear to have glamorous lives can feel lonely, neglected, and unloved behind closed doors. After the heartbreak of her first marriage, Shelley never thought she would find lasting love again, but fate had other plans. In the early 1980s, she met actor Mike Farrell, who was best known for his role as Captain B.J. Hunnicutt on the popular TV series M*A**. Farrell was also coming out of a divorce and was the father of 2 children, Erin and Michael. Shelley and Mike connected instantly, both having gone through difficult relationships in the past. They married in 1984, and for Shelley, this was a turning point. Unlike her first marriage, this relationship was full of mutual respect, compassion, and partnership. Shelley also stepped into the role of stepmother with open arms, creating a close bond with Mike's children. Although she never had children of her own, she often said that being part of Mike's family filled a missing piece in her life. When Shelley fell gravely ill in the late 1990s, Mike was by her side every step of the way, proving his deep love and loyalty. Their marriage became an example of true commitment in Hollywood, a world where relationships often fall apart. For Shelley, finding love again was not only healing but life-saving. It gave her the support system she needed to face the darkest days of her health crisis. Even after surviving her liver transplant in 2000, Shelley's health struggles did not end. People often think that once a person gets a transplant, everything returns to normal. But the truth is very different. For the rest of her life, Shelley had to take powerful medications to prevent her body from rejecting the new liver. These drugs weakened her immune system, making her more vulnerable to infections. She also experienced long-term side effects like fatigue, nausea, and joint pain. At times, she described feeling like a prisoner inside her own body because every day was a battle. On top of that, Shelley had to deal with emotional stress. Living with the knowledge that her life depended on someone else's organ weighed heavily on her heart. She often thought about the donor and the donor's family, feeling both gratitude and sadness at the same time. Even though she put on a brave face for the public, Shelley lived with daily reminders of her fragile health. She once said that surviving a transplant is like being born again, but also like carrying a reminder that time is precious and not to be wasted. Her physical pain never fully disappeared, but she found strength in helping others.